I was trafficked with 13 other girls, and I am the only one who's still alive today.
My youngest daughter said, I want to tell you about my missions project, and I said, okay, what is it? She said, human trafficking. I said, oh, like Cambodia and Thailand. She said, no, Mom, like Denver. And I was just blown away. What do you mean this happens here?
We're recovering girls and boys at a rate of over 100 a year. That's just what we know about and the tips that we get, and we really try to stay proactive. I would venture to say we're getting several thousand. I mean, it's really hard to put a number on that just because it's a crime that likes to hide in plain sight. People believe that kids are going to get kidnapped off the street or kidnapped from their homes. That's really not what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot more of these kids be approached in local shopping malls, at school, at parks, through social media.
It's not that these kids are all runaways, they're not all drug addicts. They didn't all just decide to go sell themselves. They were groomed, they were attracted by someone who they felt loved them, someone that they felt really cared about them. They just didn't know that this was going to happen or that it could happen. I have a girl who met a guy at Starbucks. He told her he was a college student back in town for the summer. He was working at a Fortune 500 company as an intern. It was his story. She dated him all summer, thought he was a great guy, went to her sister's soccer games with her, spent time with the family, decided at the end of the summer he didn't want to go back to college, that he was going to transfer and go to school here in Denver. One night they went to his supposed cousin's house. She was just hanging out with these guys, thinking they seemed nice enough. They went into the cousin's bedroom and kind of were making out. They were being teenagers, is how she felt. And he said, it's time for us to make a real commitment here. If you're really my girlfriend, it's time. And she said, oh no, I don't want to. Let's wait until we're married. And he said, no, it's time. This is what's going to happen. And she ultimately consented, but consent is a loaded word when you're in a situation with someone you think you're in love with. When they got done, his friends, his cousins, were all in the room with them. And the next thing she knew, she was being raped by all of the cousins, and everything was being videotaped. They proceeded to tell her that if she said anything about it, they would show the videotape of her with her boyfriend to her parents, and that they would also hurt her siblings. Then she was told that this is what she was going to do now. She was going to start making money. It was going to be after school. She started lying to her parents, and she would be picked up by one of the guys. He would take her to wherever, apartment, hotel. She would be sold until it was time to go home for dinner. She would go to school, and she would be picked up again after school. She never missed a day of school. She still got good grades, but she was being trafficked the whole time.
The average age of entry is 12 to 14 years old into sex trafficking. Some of these kids that are running away and they're getting caught up with the street life and drug use, and these other kids that are living in multi-million-dollar houses or very affluent parts of town that are becoming victims of the exact same thing.
Your body is a menu. They get to pick off the menu what they want. They know the prices up front, and you're just a piece of property to them. You walk into the room and it's like, okay, I'd almost prefer if you would just let me get this over with, but then you have to go in there smiling, like you're so excited to be there.
These girls are looking at these guys and they're going, ew, he's 50, he's gross, he looks like my dad or my friend's dad, and there's nothing about him that's attractive because I'm 15. He wants me to tell him that I think he is the most handsome, sexy man I've ever seen in my life. And what I really feel is that I want to vomit. And if I could vomit on him, it would be even better, because he should be away from me. But the reality is, I don't have a choice. I'm going to be beaten if I don't do my job.
My in particular pimp would wear my house key around his neck on a chain. And he would tell me, if you run, I know where your mom and your little brother are, and I will kill them. I have this key. I could get in without a sound.
The people who are purchasing these girls, they're 40 to 55-year-old men married with children, upper middle class white men. That surprises people. These are the men that they see at church, that they see in business, that they see running government. A school teacher who spends his days with 14-year-old girls. For whatever reason, those girls are attractive to him. The businessman comes to Denver on a business trip, and he's alone. So he says, I need to take care of me right now. Might be a businessman from Denver, and he takes a girl down to Colorado Springs and stays at the Broadmoor for the week. Nobody thinks about it because he just looks like somebody's dad. He looks like somebody's dad.
They're causing girls to be broken. They're causing them to question if they'll ever be good enough for any man to love. They're causing nightmares, irritability, distrust. They're causing suicide, diseases, and physical pain. They're causing babies to be born into the world with no father, drug overdoses, girls to turn to anything to fulfill that because they've left them so empty and so dead.
They all come back with PTSD, whether they've been victimized for a week or for 5 years. The way we work with kids is we take them where they come, whatever grade level they are. You might be 14 and have a 5th grade reading level. They work through a curriculum that was created by a survivor. Every kid is doing independent work with tutors in the morning, and then in the afternoon we have what we call elective credits. We also have a counselor who comes in once a week and works with the girls, and we have equine therapy on Fridays.
Hope is a place that you can come in and no one's gonna judge you because you were trafficked. And they're gonna look at you and they're gonna say, well, what do you need? Because whatever it is, we're gonna figure it out. If it's budgeting classes, we're gonna make that happen. If it's learning how to cook, we're gonna make that happen. If it's a place to live, we're gonna work with your team and we're gonna make that happen. Because these people care.
We don't work with a huge number of kids, but we work very intensively and intentionally with each student that we have. We provide lunches for them. We provide basic needs for them if they need them. We do go out and buy them clothes when they need. Volunteers bring them to school every day. Our greatest desire is that these girls really recognize their survivorship and not their victim.
You don't want to die. You don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. You get to the point where you feel so broken that it feels like your only option. But I always had hope that there was going to be something better for me on the other side. That I was going to get through this and I was going to make something of myself. And that's what kept me alive, was that hope. And it's still what keeps me alive today.
Climbing higher, higher, higher.
If you can, we would appreciate any financial help you could give us. If you feel led to be volunteer, we would love to have you volunteer with us. If you can't volunteer and you don't have the finances, then if you wouldn't mind just praying for us, we would appreciate that as well.
When the summer's dream, when the summer's dream.